Hi guys, and today I've got for you the DS7 Crossback. Now the party trick with this is this magic 3D LED headlights. Now they're a bit too small to show you on this car, so with a little bit of magic of our own, let's get a real one. So the DS mark is now a separate mark within the Citroën brand. It's a bit like Lexus's to Toyota or Infiniti to Nissan, or indeed in Europe, Cupra is now to Seat. Now the DS7 Crossback was introduced last year, and it's the first car that was actually developed under the DS brand, so they focus more on luxury, on premium quality and feel with this car. Underneath it's actually based on the Peugeot 3008, but it has a longer wheelbase and a wider track and different suspension, so it's more spacious. In fact, they say that rivals cars like the Land Rover Evoque, or the Range Rover Evoque, the Jaguar E-Pace, the Volvo XC40 and the Audi Q3. But in fact it is bigger than those cars, I would say, and in terms of price it's probably on par or slightly higher than they are. It ranges from £27,000 to £47,000. There's a choice of 2 diesel and 2 petrol engines, and there will be a range-topping 300 brake horsepower hybrid plug-in hybrid car being introduced next year, and that will be all-wheel drive because they will have electric motors driving the rear wheels. Otherwise these are all front-wheel drive, and the transmission is an 8-speed automatic. Now this one here is the range-topping Ultra Prestige with the Opera pack. You've got the Elegance, Performance Prestige and Ultra Prestige, and it comes with all the bells and whistles. And this one is actually the diesel. It's a 2-litre 180 brake horsepower diesel. There are lots of incredible detailed touches to the car. It's a handsome, good-looking thing, very much as you'd expect an SUV to be. But going back to those lights that I mentioned earlier, they have 3 rotating nodules in the front, sort of ice cube size, and they rotate, and it's an adaptive light system. Now interestingly, it harks back to the original DS from the 1960s, because that was the first production car to get adaptive lighting, and in that case it merely swiveled around the corners. Now in addition to swiveling, this one has modes for different driving conditions. So for example, in town it will widen the beam but lower the intensity so as not to blind oncoming traffic. On a country road it will actually increase the intensity and narrow the beam. On a motorway it will actually raise the beam up for higher speeds. You can see further ahead. It even detects the weather, so if the wipers are on it knows it's raining, and what it will do is increase the power but reduce the intensity so that you don't get so much reflection from the road. All very, very clever. Now the design of those, the sort of triangular diamond-shaped design in the front, is actually reflected with a 3D arrangement in the back, which looks spectacular when the LEDs light up there. It looks great, but how practical is it? Well, let's start, as usual, by checking out the boot. Now, as with most of these cars, I could use my foot to just kick under here and open it, but to be on the safe side, let's use the button that's on the key fob. Now, as I said, they've really focused on room and luggage room in this car, and in fact, as you can see, it is very, very spacious. There's a lot of room here, but if you needed more room, all you have to do is lower the floor, and actually then you've got even more room. In addition to that, you've got boxes on this side, you've got these straps to hold stuff, you've got the hooks there to hold the netting, and these things here, these levers here, what they do is they drop the seats. Now you can just push that down, and actually I think the headrest is blocking that, but it actually folds quite flat and provides a lot of room. So very, very flexible. But talking of the room there, what's it like to sit in? Need to do that next. So check this out. Actually quite a bit of room here. Now these seats do go back when the car's off, so I'll put it into semi-on mode. So this is actually my driving position. I'm 6'2" tall, and actually even with the seat back there's normally quite a bit of room, as you can see from that seat. And plenty of room for my knees, no problem for my shin. I could do with a bit more room for my feet down there. As you can see, they're quite tightly locked into there, but that is because the seat is on its lowest setting. But otherwise, plenty of headroom, good amount of room here. Now this seat, you may have noticed, is slightly adrift from the other one, and that is because both of these seats actually have reclining features. So if I press that, I can actually go back and give myself some even more room. That's good, isn't it? So in addition to that, of course, we have an armrest with 2 cup holders, we've got AC vents, we've got 2 USB plugs down here, and a panoramic roof to give you a nice airy cabin. So otherwise, very, very comfortable back here. Nice trim. This is the watch strap treatment for the upholstery on this Opera spec car. But yeah, very, very good. But what's it like in the front? Because that's where I really want to be. Let's go do that. Check out this interior. It is really nicely done. They have gone to town. There's all kinds of French words and things that they've used as inspiration for this interior. I'm not going to try and pronounce any of them because I'll probably get them wrong, but what I do want to show you is this. So let me just press the start button here and then watch what happens over there. Look at that. That's a beautiful BRM timepiece that comes up there. And then they've got like some of those things I was talking about. This stuff here, I don't know if you can see it close up. That's pearl stitching. There's a very special way of doing that. All of this is soft touch, most of it is soft touch. Even that's not stained, that's deliberately done like that to give it a unique identity. Down here, you've got this dark tinted chrome with all of these triangular diamond shaped motifs that are really, really quite unique and they stand out. This is textured very, very nice. These are toggle switches. That's the drive mode. We'll go into that a little bit later on. In terms of storage, the glove box actually is quite small. There's only basically that bit there, but you get tons of storage under here. There's the little car and room under there as well. And then over here you've got more storage space, including a wireless charger as well, just there, and a USB in there as well. If you can just make it out, there it is like that. So in addition to that, you've got obviously the 12-inch, 2 12-inch displays there and there, and these are basically operated by, I mean, I like this little volume controller, very nicely done, but you've basically got these sort of glass touches here, and you've got full DAB radio, full connectivity, basically everything that you'd expect. Navigation system there, sound system is very good. What is it? It's a Focal Electra with 14 speakers. I knew I'd get that wrong, but that's what it's got on here. In addition to this, I will also show you, let me just put that into reverse, and you'll see that it's got a full 360-degree camera on the car as well. And it also does that thing where when you're backing up, you actually, it switches from a rearward facing view to an overhead view to see exactly where you are relative to the obstruction behind you. AC is pretty good. Over here you've got controls, that's entirely configurable, and I can do that from here. So I can choose the different modes by going into, I want driving focus, so then it reconfigures itself, or there you go, or I want dials, and then it will give you that. Then it will go to dials, minimalism, it cuts everything out, and then if I press the button here on this stalk here, it gives me a trip computer on the right there, and it tells you, exactly. I've done about 45 miles per gallon. So overall, on a longer trip, I did see up to 50 to 60 miles per gallon. So yeah, really, really good, really comfortable. The seats in here are fantastic. The visibility is generally okay, but at the rear it's a bit tight because the window opening is quite small and there are massive C-pillars, but again, the 360 camera really helps. So the next thing to do now is to take it for a drive and see what it feels like on the road. So here we are driving along in the DS7 Crossback. Now, let's be honest, this is not a sports car. It has no pretense of being a sports car. It's about comfort. And as such, you have these modes down here. And the modes actually, because it's a top spec car, it goes through all kinds of modes. So now I go into comfort mode, and in comfort mode, it's got something called adaptive suspension. Now again, this kind of harks back to the original DS, which was famous for that incredible suspension, the self-leveling suspension that it's got. So this has got adaptive suspension, and when it's in comfort mode, it employs the use of a camera that's just behind this mirror over here. And that camera, what it does is then it reads the road ahead, and it's kind of figuring out what's happening to the surface, and then it has a computer brain that's actually then programming the dampers to basically cope with that. Now we're just going around the corner here, and it's fairly precise. Light steering in this mode, and a good ride, as I've mentioned. Now when I go into normal, It still has good suspension but not the camera thing. So what's the difference? Well, to be honest with you, it's very, very hard to detect the difference. What I've been able to sense is that if I can describe it as a slight puckering up as it detects that there's a bump. It's a little bit hit and miss, so it doesn't really capture everything, but every now and then, like in normal now, I'm feeling a little bit more of these undulations and these little ridges in the road, whereas put it back into comfort, and you do tend to kind of float over them a little bit. So now again, it's just got calmer, the body's got more control, and the passenger cabin has just become more serene because of that. Now the other modes that you have on here are Sport, and to be honest, in Sport it basically makes the transmission hold the gears a bit longer, makes the steering a little bit heavier, and it just, as you can detect right there, it just makes the ride a little bit more fidgety and brittle. It gives you a little bit more body control, but again, I'll be honest with you, since this is not a car that you'll be driving sportily very often, you're best just to leave it into comfort mode and just leave it in there all the time. Similarly, whilst we have paddle shifts, and there's a little manual button here and there's paddle shifts there which are within reach, again, I didn't see any real benefit in using them. Best let the 8-speed transmission do what it's good at. Easy to drive overall, like I said, a little bit of visibility issue at the back, but around the front, no problem pacing the car as well. Steering is best left in the light mode. You know, we're not talking feel, we're not talking sportiness, but it's a very easy car to drive. It's a car that basically you can maneuver around town quite easily and place quite easily, relatively agile. It's got a great turning circle, and you don't have any trouble really telling the corners of the car where they are. In terms of performance, it's not bad. It's diesel, as you'd expect. Has a decent bit of go from the get-go, because you have that low down torque that you get from a diesel. Again, don't go getting into any drag races or anything like that, but overall it's fine. It's got a load of safety features. So in addition to the adaptive suspension, it's got adaptive cruise control, which literally will go right down to stop start. So in traffic like this, if I turned it on, it would stop and it would move off again. That combined with lane keep assist will make sure that you don't go out of lane, for example, if you want to use it on the motorway. But it's not like an autopilot thing. You'd still have to have your hands on the steering wheel. It's got a host of other safety features as well. I won't go into all of them, but I will mention, for example, night vision, which basically has infrared cameras that can detect stuff ahead and then will flash it in front of you at night if it thinks that you need to know about it. It's also got a driver monitoring camera as well, to make sure that you're not losing interest or losing attention or falling asleep or whatever, and it will let you know. Overall then, it's a really good drive, very easy drive. We've driven on motorway. It was very comfortable, very refined, and of course excellent fuel economy, especially in this diesel. Overall, I'm going to give the car a thumbs up. I really like it. I think that the thing about this car, whilst it's not maybe a driver's car, but what it does offer is a lot of comfort, a lot of space, a lot of practicality, a lot of usability, but it throws in a really nice dose of novelty features and sort of party pieces and little tricks that it does, and little details and design touches that it has that maybe other cars would never go anywhere near. So I think in that sense, I think they put a lot of effort into it, they put a lot of thought into it, and they've created something that is possibly quite a unique offering in the market. So there you go, there's my review of the DS7 Crossback. Hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know what you think of the car, me, or the review, whatever you want to talk about, and hope to see you in the next one.